Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for our weekly connection. I hope everyone is well. Today we are going to connect to the portion called Tazria, and we are on page 19. Everybody can see my screen? Good. Ellen, please go ahead.
Okay. We learn that when a man and his wife are about to mate, God gives the spirit of the child who will be conceived to a minister and tells him where it should go. God commands the spirit to be righteous.
All afternoon talking with some fans outside of the Cardinals team store, and they said,
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is. God commands the spirit to be righteous, and then the spirit descends with an image. As long as he has that image with him, he exists in the world, but when it leaves him, he dies. We read about the witchcraft described in the book of sorcerers of Asmodeus, where they knew how to give over their images to the other side. We are told that one must never throw objects in his house because they are then of the other side. When that man who gave over his image to the other side dies, the evil spirit that was attached to his supernal image takes it away from him so that it will never return. Before a soul is born, it is shown the reward of good and evil, and the holy image stands by it. When it is born, the image becomes part of it, and his life depends on it.
תחזה בשעתה דבר נש עתה להתקדשה, להזדווגה בנוקבה, בראותה קדישה דילה, התאר עלי רוחה קדישה, כלילה דחרד ונוקבה ורמיז קודשה בריחול אחד, שלוחה, ממנה על עידו יהון דבני נשה, ומנה בידי ההוא רוחה והודה לה. לאן אתר יפקוד לה. הדאוד הכתיב והלילה אמר, הורה גבר. הלילה אמר להוא ממנה הורה גבר, מפלניה וקודשה בריחו, הפקיד להוא רוחה כל מה דהפקיד והאו כמוה.
Come and see, when man is about to be sanctified and mate with his wife, with his holy will, a holy spirit is aroused upon him, included of male and female, since he is born and comes from Zeranpin and Malchut that are the secret of male and female. The Holy One, blessed be he, indicates to a minister appointed over the conception of men and hands him that spirit and lets him know where to put it. That is the meaning of, and the night which said, there is a man-child conceived. This means that the night, which is Malchut, called night, said to that minister, there is a man-child conceived, and so, so he will put the spirit there. And the Holy One, blessed be he, commands the spirit, whatever he does, that is, he makes it swear to be righteous, etc. This has already been explained.
All right, let's individually read those two paragraphs again, and then we'll continue.
You want me to read it again?
No.
Oh.
All right, so anyone would like to comment on this first paragraph in the synopsis?
I'm just curious about when it says that we must never throw objects in the house because they are then of the other side. Is that also to mean when we lose our composure, and Satan is sort of taking over, that's not really us? Is anything that is, throwing an object would seem to me that there's not a lot of pausing going on, maybe, or when we lose our.
Yes, I don't think it's referring to, for example, if you play with your kid and you're throwing a baseball.
No. I'm talking about like if you are smashing a glass because you're angry or something, that it becomes that's sort of, you're being taken over by the other side, and so is that.
It's in general, I think, throwing object, like literally speaking when you are angry, but also throwing a fit or being reactive and throwing words that hurt. So it is this type of thing where each time, we can say that we're losing a piece of ourselves, but we can also say, there is a piece of that union of this friendship or this marriage that is taking a toll. And when it is taking a toll, there is a piece of it that basically is dissolved or is basically given to the other side. So it doesn't mean that it's lost completely, because we can retrieve so many different ways that we can retrieve lost sparks. But this is what happens when we are hurting somebody's feelings. We can't really say intentionally, because we rarely go and hurt people intentionally, especially the people that we love and we cherish and we would praise otherwise. But when we are angry for good or bad reasons, that is when there is an opening for the other side to come and tempt us to do or to say the wrong thing that is going to tarnish that connection, that relationship. And a bit of the other side is gaining ground and space over you and over that relationship. So at times it feels like, we would even say, I've tried and I've done everything. We have reached a cap, or we have reached a place of no return. To reach a place of no return, in a lot of cases, you need, like, it really needs a lot of doing. Unfortunately, we're not very good as a human being in our human traits to take responsibility. So when we are getting to that place of no return, usually we are throwing the responsibility on the other party, for getting us to where we are. If they wouldn't have done or said A, B, and C, then we wouldn't be in a place where we are right now. But that is, like, I guess, the longer answer to what you're asking. And so what it is discussing here is something very interesting, because it talks about the image. And the image is, there is I guess, a proverb or a saying that we were made at the image of God. And so I personally highly doubt that, that God, the infinite, endless light, looks like a human being or any creature that is on earth, because the creator of everything that is sublime, that is beautiful, that is great, and you can use any of the adjectives to describe God, wouldn't look like anything that is physical that we know. And if we are to describe anything that is God, and you can do a survey with people that people that you care about, people at work, what is God to you? And they would give you the answer to what God is. And a lot of times it can be an experience, or it can be a feeling, it can be an emotion, it can be happiness, it can be joy, it can be excitement, it can be passion. And most of the times when we are to describe God or the infinite, it has nothing to do with something that is physical. You would not say, oh, this person is God. Sure, we can treat somebody like our God when we give over our power to somebody, either in a reactive way, where somebody is acting in a certain way and he or she makes us feel miserable or less. Or it can also be that we can't really manage to make any decisions, so we go and we ask A, B, and C to make the decision for us because we are scared of failure, or we are scared of taking responsibility, we're scared of commitment. So we happen to have like all these different people that are playing the role of God. The role of God is basically to be creator. And one of the reasons that mankind has been put, I'd like to say, down here, also down is, like pretty much geographical or physical direction, down here, up there, it's not really physical. You can be up there and be right where you are right now. It depends where your consciousness is. And so many people are seeking God or somebody to play God in their life by making those decisions where God put you in here to ultimately make decisions for yourself. And that plays out in so many ways where we don't know what to do, and it can go from the youngest age to a very adult or in the midst of a big challenge or turmoil, and we really don't know. So we are giving ourselves away to the lawyer, to the doctor, to the specialist, because we don't know better. But it doesn't matter to what degree of expertise this professor or this doctor or this legal individual, whatever level they are still human beings, and therefore they are very limited in what is to be channeled right for you. You can certainly have laws that have been created, and we attempt to do the best that we can, and you can see that we're not doing a very good job because there is a lot of injustice, a lot of unfairness, and all sorts of things. I'm not going to go into it, but as long as it is played out by human beings, it's limited. And so if we're talking about justice on the human level or justice in the upper world, it is, I don't want to say opposite things, but it's complete. It's like night and day, because when justice is played out, and it's always playing out in the upper world, it's always perfect. There is no unfairness, injustice, race, religion, or whatnot that is playing out with the universe, because the universe, sees things beyond the physical aspect, beyond race and religion and whatnot. And so when we are to truly achieve and accomplish that understanding and absorb it and play it out in our life, can the light really channel to us what is right for us in that specific situation, in that specific relationship. There are times that we're going to get it right because the light is at play. So you feel happy, there is harmony. That's where you know that the light is at play, because there are good things that are happening. There is good feeling, there is joy, there is unity, there is wanting to be together forever or whatnot, just to enjoy this moment. So you know that the light is at play. And so in those moments, it's so much easier, first of all, to make decisions, but secondly, to make the right decision. And so when there is mutual respect, for example, you aren't scared, or intimidated to tell the other party, I really think that what you're doing right now is really hurting you. And because I care about you, I really think that you should stop that. And you could repeat like 100 times because you care about this other person. And then there are, I would say, second-class relationship where you're not as at ease to tell the person that you care about what this person is doing wrong, because, it's going to end up in a conflict. And so it doesn't matter what you're going to say, even if it comes from the best place and the best intention, the person is not going to listen to you. There are different grades like this of trust, of relationship, but the closer we are, the more the light is at play in that connection, in that relation. And that's, by the way, why we're here. We're here to play the role of the creator, the light in the vessel in this playing field, so that we can correct what was damaged, what was torn, what was tarnished in the endless between the light and the vessel. And so we're repeating creation. We're repeating creation. Our vessel, our soul came to repeat creation so that we can learn how to do it right. So when we're talking about this idea of an image, or the image of God, we're not talking about the physical aspect. We're talking about that spiritual perfected self. And each and every single one of us has that perfected self that we call the Tselem Elokim, or the shadow of God, or in other word, the image of God. And each individual is born with it. Now, as we evolve from, a toddler to a small kid, to a teenager, to an adult, that light, unfortunately, because our environment is not exactly teaching us responsibility, is not exactly teaching us spiritual responsibility. I'm not talking about the responsibility that you needed to learn how to file your taxes, how you need to pay your bills, how you need to not have debts. And it's good, they're going to teach you how to invest your time and your money and your energy, etc., which is great. But at the end of the day, if we are not educated spiritually, ultimately, when the big bang is going to come hammer us on the head, we'll get to that place very quickly, much quicker than somebody who was born in a spiritual environment, so quick at saying, I don't know what to do. I am lost. And to feel depressed, and to feel resentful, and to feel frustration, and wanting to give up in all sorts of ways. So when that muscle is not treated, when that muscle is not being sort of like a massage, getting a massage from the youngest age, so that we can be introduced to really what is the game of life. The game of life is not what we are taught in school, unfortunately. Yeah, ultimately, there is going to be school, and even a lot of successful people are telling us today that education, the way that it is going today, it's not exactly the most efficient way. There are even a lot of them that are praising not going to college, that from the age of 16, 17, 18, you needed to go do how is it called, an evaluation to figure out what it is that that you would be best at, and then you can go to a school, or you can go to a training to just learn what you would be good at. And you know what? Spiritually, it's the same thing. Not everybody is the same at everything. Some of you might be really good at listening. Some of you might be good at speaking. Some of you might be good at just the power of healing with your hands, with your heart, with your energy, with all sorts of things. And so yes, there is like the 1% part, physical part, that is here to teach us how to make money so that we can pay our bills. I don't know how it's going to be in 100 years from now, but probably going to still work this way in some capacity. But ultimately, the best way for us and for our children, for the future generations, it is to ultimately learn about that image. And from the moment that we are to discover that image that is in us, with the young children, it's much easier than with adults, because with us adults, we have already acquired self-doubt, uncertainty, resentment, judgment, inability to forgive. Those things don't exist with children. Like, children are innocent, and so you're going to say something, maybe it's going to mark them for life, and it's going to come out when they're 30 or 40. but you're going to say something that's going to hurt their feelings. They're going to hurt, they're going to cry for 2 minutes, and 5 minutes later they're going to play with something else, right? And so that innocence is something that you find in children, because that image is practically intact. And not only do we want to recognize that in each one of us, but we also want to nurture it, because each and every single one of us has flaws, and we have things that are not kind or nice or beautiful or whatnot. Like we have we have our flaws, but we also have our very, very nice and beautiful side of us that if it was like to be cherished and to be empowered, so many people want to see that part of you. And so when we're depressed and when we are at the lower version of ourselves, it's not natural for us to show that image, that spiritual image of us, because right now we are hurt and we are protecting ourselves, because we think that if we're going to expose ourselves, especially when we're hurt, somebody is going to dig the knife even deeper. I mean, this is human nature. Like almost every single individual behaves in this way. But the lesson today is first to, I'm sure that to some degree you acknowledge this aspect of the image, because we can also talk about the image as part of our soul, right? But I would say that it's more specific than just like overall the soul. The same as saying, that the evil inclination would be the opposite of the soul, and then the image, the opposite of the image, can be like the different aspects of the tikkun, like the different aspects of the klipa, that layers, those different layers of negativity that are not allowing us to shine, to let that image, that spiritual image, that spark of light shine out, so that we can be that beacon of light. Now, how do we tarnish and how do we diminish this image? I mean, it's almost obvious, right? It's we spoke it at the beginning with Ellen's question. It is basically when we get reactive, and when we throw something that is reactive, that is negative, to create space. Anything that's going to create space, even if when we're reactive, we're not thinking intentionally, I'm going to create space because I'm evil and because I want to hurt the other person. I highly doubt that this is human nature as the person was born. There are exceptions, but for somebody to become really evil, a lot of things have happened in the life of this individual, accumulated things that have led this person to become so far from his own image, from his own connection to the light, and from his own connection to his own soul. But if we're not there, and hopefully we're not there, that it's already too late, usually when it's too late, where that image is extinguished, that is when it's really time for that specific person to go. It doesn't mean that this is the case for everybody, because there are people that are living this world and their image is right there, and actually it's even more shining than when they came. So this is just, from one aspect, one lesson that we want to learn about this image. And the Zohar mentioned it, if that that part, when that man who gave over his image to the other side dies. So it's a little bit morbid, but this is like, I would say, like in the most extreme level, when there is nothing left human, spiritual human, like in the image, in the Tselem Elokim that is left in that individual, then that person, see you later. And by the way, it's not like there is no mention here of time. Did you see that? There is no mention of time. So the person could have reached at the end of the road in the aspect of the image. Now, we don't know how long it's going to take. Like it can take like a day, or it can take 7 years. So a person can be like totally evil and can live for 50 years and can spread so much chaos, right? So there is no aspect of time that is being referenced here. Why? Because time is part of the physical reality. It is an illusion that is not an illusion, the way that it doesn't exist. It does exist in this physical reality, but it is relative only to that physical reality, because for an individual who is more elevated, this aspect of time is less relevant. Again, to add and another exception, not to make it more complicated, but during the World War II and any wars, there are innocent souls that are living prematurely, too early. There are children that die, there are righteous people that die. In the Second World, there are many righteous souls that died. In the 300-400 years ago, in the time of the Inquisition, any time where there was whatever sort of war and genocides and exterminations and whatnot, there were innocents and there were also righteous souls. So again, this idea of time is not to be taken in consideration here, because the Zohar isn't going to talk about it because it's probably not relevant. But this would explain a lot. Why is it that that evil gets to get a win? Why is it that the evil isn't being punished? We need to also remember that this realm, and it's a little bit not like it's gobsmacking, and it's like shocking to even ask the question that why is it that evil needs to exist at all on earth? And the answer is in this proverb that we spoke about, that that man was created at the image of God. And in that sentence, we get basically all the answer. So we have a choice. Man is born with a choice. Before a soul is born, it is shown the reward of good and evil, and the holy image stands by it. Because you get a choice to eat broccoli or cheesecake, doesn't mean that you're going to eat the broccoli because it's healthier. Make sense? If I get the choice, honestly, you put right this moment broccoli or cheesecake on my desk, there is not a shadow of a doubt that I would go for the broccoli. Just kidding. Cheesecake, 100%, for sure. But is it the best health-wise for me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I should not eat sugar. I should not eat gluten. I should eat more broccoli and vegetables and grains and whatnot, and cut on salt and cut on life, cut on taste, cut on basically everything that is good to eat and to put in your mouth. Anyway, I just watered my mouth just to think about it. So, in other words, we are given that choice. And because we're given that choice, and because that choice with a human being choosing good or evil, there are times that I'm going to choose good, and it would enhance that image within me to make a better decision, more informed, more practical, more balanced, more centered decisions. But there are times that I'm going to fail. I don't see this as a failure because I'm making a decision, and in that moment, this is what I feel. And because I'm following emotions and what I feel, what the body feels. My body feels like sugar right now. My body feels like salt. My body feels like meat. My body feels like, God knows, like to take things personal, or to feel like, to be lazy and to procrastinate. All this, what I just described, is body consciousness. All of it. None of what I just listed is soul, image. None of it. Nothing. So majority of the times, most of the decisions that we make, they are from the perspective of the body consciousness, from our evil inclination, and we make the decision. We don't realize that we're being reactive. We don't realize that we're being selfish. We don't realize that we're making the wrong choice that hurts us in the long run. Why? Because in the moment it feels right, which is part of, the secret of this physical reality, that what is good in the moment is what equals fulfillment. Is that a lie? It's not a lie. It is fulfillment, but it is also called instant gratification. And instant gratification in the long run hurts. So at the end of the day, if I'm making myself a list, 2 columns of the things that I do, the things that I say all day, I keep a journal of all the things that I said, all the things that I've done, all the things that I ate. And I have 2 lists of good and evil, of desire to receive for the self alone instant gratification, and to share, to connect to the soul, to enhance my image. I'm almost certain that 99%, let me rephrase, 99.99% would be on that column that is selfish and fulfilling my instant gratification. So it's not to depress me, because I'm being realistic. Most of my decisions. So if we are to change 1% of those decisions into enhancing my image, my transformation would be night and day. Why? Because most of my decisions lead me to less light, to less enhancement of my image. This is what I'm used to. So if I break the pattern and I'm starting, or I'm enhancing more of that image by making the decisions that are going to be good for my body, good for my soul, good for my feeling centered and feeling proactive and feeling proud of myself for making the right decisions, the difference that it's going to make in my life, I would feel it, not just physically. I would see the result with my relationships. I would see the results in my body. I would see the results in my health. I would see the results with my friends and the people that are close to me, or at work, with my finances, because everything would respond in kind. If the energy that gravitates is the one that extracts energy and light from the image, life is taken away from me. And I'm feeding the body consciousness. So it is for us a huge achievement to accomplish. It is an accomplishment to realize that most of my decisions are selfish. If I think that it is exaggerated, and it's okay if you think this way, make yourself your own list of all the things that you decide, of all the things that you say, of all the things that you do all day long in one day. You don't have to do do a couple hours. You don't have to do like an entire day. Do a couple hours and create those 2 columns. Feeding my image, depleting my image. And be as honest as you can with yourself. And you know what? Don't change anything. Don't start going like spiritual, praying, yoga, like stretching and helping. Oh, today I'm going to volunteer. No, don't change anything. Do things exactly as you're used to. How's tomorrow, Tuesday, going to play out for you from 8 to 10? How is that going to play out? What is it that you used to do like in the last 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks? Every Tuesday, people have routine. What is it that you would do at 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30, 10 o'clock? What is it that you would do? Do exactly, don't change anything. The following week, take those same 2 hours. You don't have to do this every day. Just pick Tuesday. That's it. Tuesday, I'm just going to write down, take a journal, like write down everything that I'm going to do, say, think, feel, respond from 8 to 10 Tuesday. Don't change anything. The following Tuesday, 8 to 10, do as many positive things, life-changing, emotional changing, drastic changing, connection, elevation, spiritual maturity thing, reading thing. Those 2 hours, just focus on elevation, on nurturing your image. After you've done those 2 things and kept like those 2 pages, 1 page for tomorrow, another page for next week. And then in 2 weeks from now, you're going to update us how you did with those 2 Tuesdays. Is that a good plan? Is that a good plan? Raise your hand if you're going to do it. Raise your hand if you're going to do it. That's not a hand, Beatrice. I don't see everybody else. Great. Great. Steve, did you raise your hand? No, you're not going to raise your hand. I know. You're doing the spiritual work for all the rest of us. Karen, nice to see you, Karen. All right, so you have your homework. Any question? No question, everything's clear? Yes? Great. I'm looking forward to seeing you in, well, next week, same time, Monday, 7 p.m. Thank you and love you all.
Love you too, Yehuda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.